to the Connecting Point. I am Dr. Marcy, your facilitator for this discussion table today. And here I am with someone who's been on the show before, but he's back. Yay, Mickey Smith Jr. Yes.
It's good to be back in the place, in the space again. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. And you know, this is the place where creators connect to inspire, share their ideas and stories, to transform the world through raw and unedited talk. And like I said, you know, this is someone who's been here before. I'm sure you've seen his face all over the place because this is an award-winning music educator, musician, and we're just going to have a happy holiday discussion today. Some things will be holiday oriented and some will not. But I also have to tell a little bit about the connection because it's the connecting point, people. Of course, Mickey, I think I talked with you last year. Was it last year? Or right at the
last year
brink of the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Yeah, I think so. But this young man here was referred, I was referred to him and vice versa through a mutual friend, Miss Gant. You know who that is, right? From Athens, Georgia. Mrs. Gant. And she messaged me, and I'm sure she messaged him. And she said, we needed to connect. That's that connecting point. You know, she saw something in him and me that needed to, you know, make a connection. And so he and I reached out to each other. We talked on the phone, never met in person. Yeah. Wow. We've never met. We've only talked on the phone and through this type of platform. However, after talking, I must tell this story because I don't think I've ever told you personally, but I've said it many times. You are the reason that this is the connecting point with Dr. Marcy. Wow. It was the connecting point with Dr. Marcy Thurman Simmons. And so I'm going to explain this a little. Yeah. I know you remember. I remember one morning, it was a Sunday morning, I woke up to this message from Mickey Smith Jr. And he had a question on there in the message asking me about what I saw. And you actually asked me what I saw in you. Yeah. And I said to you, motivator, motivational speaker, or something like that. And then you messaged back and said, have you ever thought about changing your name to Dr. Marcy? And you didn't know it, but the week before you told me that, I had been praying and asking God to show me how to drop the name, the last name for personal and legal reasons, to show me how to drop that last name off since I'd already put it on there. Yeah. You were the confirmation. And not only did you tell me that, it was almost like God was speaking through the message, you know, because I knew what I had prayed. And you were used as the instrument to just go ahead and confirm that for me. And you even explained why I needed to do it. You remember that?
I remember. And I kind of noticed that a few minutes ago. I didn't want to say anything. I was like, I think she changed the name. I'm looking here on the backdrop. But you know, it's so wonderful when people come together. You know, I always think about the scripture. It says how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And at the end of the day, life moves at the speed of relationships. You know, we're better together. You know, I reached out to you, you know, because again, Donna was just so insistent. She hit me up. Miss Gant was like, you got to meet this person. And I've never met Miss Gant in person either. But our paths have crossed, and her spirit is wonderful. And I I just felt like anybody she wants me to meet, I need to meet. And I reached out to you, and I think we might have lost track of time. I think we might have talked for about an hour that
Yeah, we
day
did.
on the phone. Yeah.
We did.
And reaching out, I felt that in my spirit that the name changes, the mission doesn't, the mission and the calling doesn't change, but sometimes there's something about that name, right? And the way that
Oh,
we put
Jesus.
ourselves out. So I felt compelled to call. I was a little nervous because I'm like, I don't want to get in everybody's Kool-Aid, telling people how they should. I mean, it's her name, but I moved with that, and I'm so glad it was received in love because that's how it was given. It wasn't any other way.
Oh, I know that.
So I'm excited. I'm excited about this new chapter, so to speak, and this new sound, this new name, and but again, mission stays the same. It's
It
connecting
does.
people.
It does. And even watching you after we talked, and I said motivation.
Yeah.
And then I saw you start moving in that direction. It's almost like God placed you and I there for each other
Yeah.
to push.
Yeah.
Because you are an encourager. That's a calling that's on your life. And I'm one too.
Mm-hmm.
And so when iron sharpens iron,
that's it.
You see the scriptures come up off the page. Oh my God, Nikki, I could go there,
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, but I think people need to hear that now more than ever. We were separated with COVID and so much other things that have been happening. And I think how the saying goes, you don't miss the well until the water runs dry. And I think that separation really reminded us all how much better we are together. As a music teacher, band director, I always tell my students life's better when we band together. You can't even have the word band without the word and. None of us were meant to walk this thing alone. And there's really no self-made anybody.
No.
It just really isn't. Obviously, you have to do the work. There's certain responsibility that falls on your shoulders. But you see anybody that's doing anything, they didn't do it by themselves. It's a collaborative. It's a collaborative effort, just like an ensemble, whether it's a choir, orchestra, symphony, or band. Those sounds are made sweet when they're done together. And that's how I look at this. We all have a sound, and it's our job to bring those sounds together to create something that really resonates with folks across our path in this thing called life.
Yeah, and I was just talking with my children this morning about joy. I have been in such a joyous place. It's almost unexplainable,
Yeah.
And I went to an event last night, and it's so funny what God does with me. He'll have me see something in the event that I'm in. He does this to me all the time. I can be at a party anywhere, and he will point something out to me. And so I was at this party last night, and God said, look at the people, how happy and joyous they are. And it's not really about what we were celebrating. It was about living in freedom of who you are in Christ, unapologetically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And walking in it and surrounding yourself with people who allow you to do that. And so I thank you for allowing me to be my authentic self with you. Everybody that comes on this platform knows it's not scripted. They know that from day, as soon as I said, listen, this is raw and unedited. We're just going to go with how it flows. And so I commend you as well for some of the things that you have accomplished and still accomplishing. I have watched you. You made a transition.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
the nice word for it. Look, I was telling somebody, I was reaching out to my pastor back at home, ministry when we were back in Louisiana. For those that don't know, Louisiana, born and raised, right? But now there's been a shift. I left the Bayou State and now I'm in the Sunshine State, right?
Sunshine
Eh,
State of Florida. Yep.
so
Yep.
I'm in South Florida, way down there. I mean, you can't stumble on this. I mean, we down here in West Palm Beach. I mean, it's a drive. You forget how big Florida is. Like you
Mhm.
think you did something when you get to Florida, and you still got about 5 more hours to drive once you get in it. It's quite a trek. So it's been, we're about 1,500 miles away from everything we've ever known and everyone we've ever known, so to speak. And it can be challenging at times, but there's not been a day that's gone by when I haven't seen, like you said, God's hand in it. And I'm reminded that his finger never points where his hand doesn't provide. And in this season, we just been reminded, just how faithful he is. And my pastor used to always say that God is faithful. That was his reset. And I'm sharing that with somebody because that's been so critical in my life. When things are at their worst, you could cuss and fuss, you could do a whole lot of things, but the best thing you can say is God's faithful,
He's
because
faithful.
that puts it back on him, and it also resets your mind. Like we always talk about the renewing of the mind, but it's really it's like a computer, it's like a smart device. It has to be reset, has to be recharged. Even the best device needs some updates every so often. So that hard reset for me is God's faithful. God's faithful kind of pulls me back into where I'm supposed to be. But with him, I texted my pastor and I said, wow, I thought I came to Florida to teach, but I really came to learn. I came to learn. And I've been learning a lot in this season. And that's both challenging and exciting too, because it's challenging because you think you know some stuff. You think you learned a few things, you got a few credentials, you're like, I got this. And then you get here and you realize, wow, there's a whole nother level to
Whole
this
nother
thing
level.
called life.
Yeah.
There's whole other elements and aspects that maybe you weren't aware of. And that's the beauty of it. No different than music. You might have 12 notes, but there's so much you can do with those sounds, you know?
Yes.
So we're excited about it. It's been wonderful. I'm currently teaching at a private institution. It's the Green School.
Mhm.
Wonderful, innovative um, uh, campus there. I mean, it is cutting edge. I believe it's the future of where education is going. And that's a big reason why I elected to step away from everything that was good for this thing that's quite not understood and new to us. And it's definitely helped me in this season look at teaching again for the first time, if that makes sense. And
Mhm.
it's helped our family have opportunities that we couldn't even imagine back at home. But I definitely missed the gumbo. I miss that boudin. Sometimes y'all don't know about that jambalaya. Somebody know what I'm talking about out there. I miss the good old Louisiana stuff. But in many times, our growth comes when we step out the comfort zone. So that's where
Yeah.
we're at now, and I'm excited about it. It's been good. It's been good.
Let me ask you this because I feel like somebody needs to hear it. How did you know, as a husband, as a father, as an educator who is quite established, in Louisiana, how did you know
Hmm.
to make this move? Because, a lot of people, they have open door opportunities and they say, oh, I can't, I'm going to lose too much. Can you explain how you did it and what was involved in your thinking process
Yeah.
and what you
That's a
had
that's
to decipher between?
that's a strong question. That's a great question. So look, I'm gonna answer it without answering it. The truth of the matter is, well, let me tell you this before I answer it. My daughter, look, I'm a whisper because they don't like you talking about it.
Yeah,
My
yeah, that was
daughter,
like,
my daughter, she's a graduating senior this year. We moved her senior year, right?
oh,
So she's in a situation, and fast forward, she's doing wonderful. She's thriving. She's actually been awarded some commendations and a few,
mhm.
and you think she would have been there her whole career at this school. So God definitely opened up a door and made a way, but she's struggling. I'll use that word right now with not knowing. She
Ah,
wants answers. She
ah,
wants to know, okay, when I pick this college, when I commit to this degree, when I do this, she wants the answer. She wants to know that everything's going to be okay. She wants to know that the steps are ordered. And the thing is this, the steps are ordered, but they were never necessarily given.
Uh-huh.
Like he'll tell you to do. Matter of fact, when you think about, was it Abram before he was Abraham? He said, "Go to a place I will show you."
Show
Now that's
you.
crazy when you think about it. Go
Yeah.
to a place I will show you. In our mind, we're like, show us the place we're
Tell
going. But
me
he
now
said,
before
go.
I go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So she wants to see it. And me and my mother were talking a while back, and we both kind of laughed because honestly, there are no answers in this thing called life. The only one who has the answers, it ain't us, it's him. So when we live our life in search of answers, we live a very unfulfilled life because that was never what we were designed. We were never designed to have the answers. Okay. We were designed to answer the call, if that makes sense.
Be the answer.
You know, so in this case, how did I know? The truth is I didn't. I trusted. So what that looks like an institution calling you out the blue. And when we say out the blue, for most folks that means out of nowhere. But when I say out the blue, it means from above, right? So they call from out the blue, and they said, "Hey, you don't know us, but we know you. And there's this school we'd like you to be at. Are you interested?" And I flat out told them no. Can you believe that? Because where I was at was good. And look,
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
were
being
doing
real
well,
because
very well. Yeah.
you said it. There was nothing wrong. I wasn't running from anything. If anything, I was celebrated where I was at.
Mhm.
And one thing led to another. You know, they flew us out to see the place, which I wasn't used to in education. I ain't never heard no school flying you out and putting you, but they took care of us. And that's, we're looking at this situation. We fly out there, and I want to just be clear because sometimes folks, they'll see a situation, but they don't understand the dynamics of it. They flew us out there. We saw an amazing experience. And do you know what I told those people after they flew us out and they saw me teach and I saw that campus? I flew back home. I told them no. They said, "Well, what's wrong?" I said, "Nothing's wrong with it." And the truth of the matter was, nothing was wrong with it. It just wasn't home, and it just wasn't comfortable. And it was just unfamiliar enough to where I don't know if I want that. So they said, "Well, what would help with it?" And I began to explain how I have a family, and this decision had to be one that was agreed upon. And they said, "Well, can we fly your family back out with you?" I was like, "What? Again?"
They
Like,
wanted you.
they flew us back out
Wanted you.
and saw it again. And we went back home, still not giving them an answer. Prayed about it. Long story short, I I trusted. I could see that this was something. I didn't know what it was. I don't want to lead anybody on. I didn't have the skies part, the heavens didn't open, the voice didn't come down the thunder, but there is a still small voice. There was a voice of peace and comfort and confirmation, just like you said earlier. There were things that were said, things that were seen that validated and reinforced an idea. And when God speaks to me, I can't say that there's been a voice, but there has been a comfort, a peace, a confirmation that surpasses all my understanding,
Understand.
right? And that's what this was, to where I didn't know, I trusted. And watch this: our leaving the community made the front page news. I'm telling you, this is a hard move to
I
make
saw
because
that.
yeah, it was the lead story on the evening news. It was a big deal. And in the story, watch this. They asked me. They said in the newspaper article, they said, "Well, is everything taken care of?" And I spoke with words of faith. I said, "Yes." I said, "Everything's fine." I said, "We have a home. We hadn't had no home yet. We hadn't secured it fully." I said, my daughter has a school, but I wasn't lying. And that, somebody might be listening. That boy out here just lying. He ain't saved like they said he was. No, the truth is, I wasn't lying. I was speaking the faith. I was speaking because I knew the school my daughter was going to. Did you hear what I said? I knew the school she
Uh-huh.
was going to, right?
Uh-huh.
They didn't know it yet. So I spoke it. My son, my wife, I knew what I wanted for them, and I just put it in God's hands. Was it easy? No. Was it scary? Yes. Did I feel like a goofball some days, packing up this truck and not knowing where we were going? But we packed it up. We drove like the Beverly Hillbillies. We was going down the road, and we got to about Alabama. And do you know we got an email? We got an email that on the way to Florida, my daughter was accepted to the school, a school that does not accept seniors, by the way.
Look at this. Look at this.
My
People living.
son, my son was accepted to a school. Okay. My wife didn't know it yet, but in a matter of days, she would be offered multiple jobs, and she would actually receive a job that was wanting the exact position she had back at home, a position that wasn't even celebrated at home, a position that they were looking to phase out back at home. These people out here said, we see you and we want exactly who you are without compromise and without change. So now here we are on our way. The answer was made. And it made me think about so many times, like you said, Abram, go to a place I will show you. Peter, step on the water, right? It's only when we take the steps that the answers come into place. So for that person that's listening, stop looking for the answers and start taking the steps, because the answers reveal themselves as you take the steps. That's how you find the answer, because the answer is really not in us. It's in trusting in him, because he is the answer.
And Mickey, I talk with my children a whole lot about spiritual things. And just this morning, my daughter said to me, Mom, I have to work on just trusting what is. Yeah. And I told her, you know what? I am so much better at it. I used to want to see things before, I want to know where is it going, because I'm such a planner. Mm-hmm. I like things planned out. But now, I think that's part of the joy that I have, is because I'm just, whatever happens.
That's it.
It's it. Whoever that person is, that's who they are. Leave them, just live, And so I can only imagine what was going through. I'm telling you, I can only, because
now look, I say amazing. Sometimes that's my default, because amazing can be on both sides of that pendulum. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it again. It's been amazing. What do I mean by amazing? There have been days where it's been intense joy and amazingly good. And then there's been some days where it's been amazing, like, oh my goodness, this is beyond anything. Will we be able to make it? But the good news is, no matter what type of amazing it is, he encompasses it all.
Yes, he does.
And if nothing else, in this season, as I'm talking to you, I'm just reminded how maybe this season, more than anything for me, was just to lean back and trust in him in a way that maybe I wasn't. I'm not saying I didn't trust God, but there comes points where we become trusting in the process and in our practices and in our systems and in certain institutions. But what happens when he rips everything away? That's when you start really understanding who God is. And then you also get a glimpse of who you are in him, and I think that's the beauty in this. I always like to tell folks, see the sound, and the sound's not the audible, that's the internal, that's the significance that we all carry. And the truth of the matter is we all have a sound, but many people's sound is going, quote unquote, unheard, right? Like they say, don't put that light under a bushel, right? Let the light shine, right? And we all have that sound that can shine, that can resonate. Watching you right now on this screen and seeing those words, Dr. Marcy, it's encouraging to me, because I felt compelled to share that sound with you, to share that significance that was given to me. And it wasn't, and the thing is, it wasn't for me. In the backyard of this new place we got, there's a big, what they call it, mango tree. Sweet.
Send me some mangoes. Send me some.
Look, hey, don't play when that thing comes into fruitfulness or whatever. I mean, there's so many mangoes. Our neighbor literally puts a laundry basket out and a sign. She says, take all you want, because it just is so plentiful. It just puts it out. And I'm walking one morning and I'm watching that mango tree, and it occurs to me that I've never seen a tree eat its own fruit. And when we think about the gifts that we have, it was never for us.
Right.
It was meant to be given. And being fruitful is not about anything of yourself. It's about being in a position to be a blessing to others. I don't know exactly why I've been asked to come down here to South Florida, but I do believe that it's not for me. I believe that it's something greater. I believe it's for my children. It's for my family. Right. I believe it's for the lives I'm going to impact in these classrooms. I believe that it's even a platform or a stage to influence and inspire even outside the four walls of the classroom. And at the end of the day, we all have a sound, we all have a stage, and that's where we operate from. And we all have an audience. And that audience was not meant to worship us or celebrate us. They were meant to receive what we have so that they then can go out and be a blessing. So when you see me and you see my sound, it's just a passing down of fruit from one to another. And
Yeah.
that's what makes the connecting point so powerful, because I almost think of it like the farmer's market. It's the place where we all come together. We got one right down the street, and that bad boy is nice because people from all walks of life come and they share and they collaborate. And I don't see anybody leave upset. Everybody leaves a little better than they came when they come to the connecting point.
And I have to say this, because even when we started talking at the beginning, God was showing me that, but he keeps bringing this back up, so I got to say it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine just last week, I think, she told me, she said, your name will be great. But for some reason, God's telling me to tell you that your name, and your name, when she explained it to me, she said, your name is not like you're seeing like your name, Dr. Marcy. Your name is your offspring.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, when you're planting into other people and you birth something from your loin to plant into others, your name shall be great.
That's it. That's it.
And that is how your name doesn't stay confined in your household. It goes global, because the more people that you can impact, then your name, I cannot say that, your name.
Yeah. Psalms 112 says, blessed is the man that feareth the Lord, that delighteth greatly in his commandments. His seed shall be mighty upon earth, and the generation of the upright shall be blessed. Wealth and riches shall be in his house, and his righteousness shall endure forever. And there's a powerful picture that I see when I think of that scripture, and that is, all we can leave in this life is what we believe.
Yeah.
You can't take it with you. So your actions and your deeds actually become, like you said, the seed, right? And we now know more than ever that what we do is not for our pleasure, okay, but success or victory is measured when together we can enjoy it, when together we can walk, when together we can shine, when together we can sound. And I think for so many folks out there, we have to ask ourselves the question, are we okay? Are we okay with the work that we do right now being a blessing for someone we can't see? You know, and I think that for teachers, I think we kind of naturally lend ourselves to that. Especially, you know, now in my case, I'm spoiled, Dr. Marcy. I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled in the sense that I recognize that I am unusual, because most teachers teach, but oftentimes never know if they made the impact, because that child moves on to another grade or another school. But as a band director, a music teacher, okay, we are fortunate because we get to see a level of progression because those children return to us. There's a relationship that's developed there that's a little, the dynamic's a little different than maybe your traditional teacher, your core teachers. I like to call us the encore. We're the encore, right?
We are very vital.
You know? So with us, we can kind of see it. And matter of fact, I just got a graduation invitation or a thank you letter from a student I taught in 6th grade. And she wanted me to know, Mr. Smith, I just graduated college. And I would tell those kids that all the time, you know, not in an ugly kind of way, but I would tell them, look, I don't want your high school graduation. I said, I'm gonna be there anyway. Like I would always go to it. I said, I need y'all to remember me when y'all walk across that bad boy at college. Let me know. And do you know they find me? I don't even know how this girl got dressed. I'm in Florida. This girl found my address, kind of stalked her. Like not that I say it out loud. We may need to be concerned. I don't know, but it's sweet. It was sweet. She sent me the invitation, and she remembered that man. That man made a difference. He was a part of this. And as a teacher, it encourages me so much, because there's often times where I think, is this even doing anything? Is it worth it? And then you get those little glimpses. And I'm telling somebody today that the work you're doing won't be realized until the weight of time is on it. Some of the stuff we're doing, it won't even be realized until the weight of eternity is on it. Like we may not even know some of this stuff in the here and the now. It may be afterwards where we get a revelation, but like Galatians 6:9 says, in all that you do, okay, don't stop doing good. Keep
Good.
on going, because in due season, you'll reap the reward. You'll get that benefit if you don't quit.
That's right. That's right. Oh my God. I'm glad we're having this conversation
Me too.
because I do know that it comes a moment of freedom when you're able to do that, when you're able to embrace others and the gifts that they bring to the table, when you're able to give the gifts you have. And that is so powerful.
Absolutely.
And I think as a society, we're always wanting to compete. You compete with this, compete. There's no competition.
It's a collaborative.
Yeah, it's no competition. Stop it.
Yeah.
We
should be coming together.
Yeah. We don't have to compete with one another. Now, there might be people doing the same quote unquote title job, whatever you're doing, but there's a uniqueness to how God has told you to do it. If you just ask him, he will give you what he planned for you to do with yours. Mm-hmm. And if you stay in it, here we go back to that same, I say the scripture so often, all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called to his purpose. If you are in his purpose, like Mickey, he's in God's purpose. That's why he doesn't have to really worry about his move to Florida.
Yeah.
Because now if he was out of his purpose, I might say, oh Lord, I don't know, Mickey, you might want to back up.
Indeed.
But when you're up and you are operating in your God-given purpose, God got you.
That's it.
It's already written. It's already finished. He's got you. So the key here is to get in your purpose, and your purpose is always attached. I don't care what anybody says. Always attached to other people.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to connect with other people. Period.
Mm-hmm. That's it. The fruit ain't ours. It's for somebody else.
You're gonna have to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
I got a buddy of mine. He's got this saying. He said, "Can't nobody beat me at being me." I probably butchered it. So my man Sean, he's watching this, I'm sorry, but the essence of what he said is in there. Can't nobody beat me at being me. And I'm reminded every time I hear him say something to that effect. A few years ago, I post on social media the equipment that I use on my saxophone. Like I posted what type of mouthpiece I use, the reed, the ligature, the brand of saxophone, everything. I just put it all out there. And man, one of my friends called me. They were like, "Man, Mickey, what are you doing, man?" I said, "What?" He's like, "I just got on Facebook, man. Take that down." I said, What are you talking about? You put all your stuff out there, man. They gonna sound like you now. I said, "Oh man, no, they're not gonna sound like me like that." And he was like, how can you be so brash? He thought I was being arrogant, but it's just like somebody could put on the hat, they could put on the jacket, but they're not gonna have the thumbprint I got.
They're not gonna have it. Sorry.
You're not gonna have the signature. And because there was so much that went into that. It's more than just notes on a page. There's a depth to it. There's some life experience that can't be duplicated or replicated. And I'm reminded that when I was a little boy, there was a saxophonist that I admired greatly. Matter of fact, he was a saxophonist in the Church of God in Christ, and he'd travel all over the place. And he's played with, back in the day, he was playing with Kirk Franklin, all these different people. He's a great saxophonist. And when I joined band, he's the reason I started playing the saxophone, because I didn't know what instrument to play. And I looked at my mom and I said, "What instrument should I play?" Because I was apparently, okay on all of them at the tryout. And she said, "Well, I don't know anything about that one or that one, but I know Marcus Davis." And that's the guy I'm talking about. He said, he plays a sax. He said, if you ever sound anything like Marcus Davis, you're going to be all right. So he's the reason I picked the saxophone. Had never met that man before.
Wow.
Fast forward, I got some friends of mine who are mutual acquaintances of his, and they were rehearsing, and they invited me. I was a young kid. I was probably about 15 years old. And they were in their 20s, late 20s. They knew me, knew the little kid that plays the saxophone. They were like, "Hey man, you want to come to our rehearsal? I know you like Marcus Davis. He's going to hang out with us that day." So I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm on the front pew of the church while they're rehearsing. I'm watching and I'm just taking it all in because he's great. And at the end of the rehearsal, I worked up the courage to go speak to him. And I asked him, I said, hey, my name is Mickey, and I love how you play Mr. Davis. And he wasn't much older than me, but Mr.
Yeah.
Davis, and I'm like, hey, what mouthpiece are you playing on? And he was so gracious. He told me the exact mouthpiece, size, dynamic, everything. So I went home that same day. I told my mom, I said, I figured it out. I need y'all to go get me this mouthpiece so I can sound like him. Like all the little kids used to think they put on the Air Jordans, they was going to the NBA.
Yeah.
So they went out and they bought me the mouthpiece, and Doc, look, I didn't sound good. I mean, I bought that mouthpiece. It didn't make a lick of difference. I sounded the same, but I worked at it and I worked at it and I worked at it. I didn't realize it was not about the mouthpiece, but with that mouthpiece, I worked at it. Fast forward 20 years later, maybe I'm playing at an event and I'm the featured artist, and they have some guest artists that are coming up. One of the guest artists was Marcus Davis. I played my solo, got a standing ovation. People are celebrating, just kind of painting a picture. It was a great night, great energy. I'll never forget. Marcus Davis looks at me and says, Mickey, you sound good, man. What mouthpiece you playing on? Somebody gonna get that on the way.
Goodness. See, you had all those confirmations when you met him. Now, see how I just want to point this out so people can see how God did this. Your mother mentioned a name. You ended up in the same room with the name your mother mentioned, but your mother had no idea you were going to end up in a room with him.
No idea.
Okay. That name, that person spoke something into you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Your name will be great.
Yeah.
That man's name is attached to you because of the information he delivered.
And the information is so crazy. How crazy is it that after all those years, he would turn and ask me the same question I asked him? So that tells me that we can all have the same mouthpiece, but if we put what we're supposed to put in it, it will become unrecognizable to the very person who told you. He told me to get the mouthpiece and then said, what are you playing on? I told him, he just fell out laughing. He said, that's the same thing I play on. I said, I know. I had to remind him. He had forgotten because it was just a moment. It was a big moment for me, but it was just another moment for him. I had to remind him that 20 years earlier, he told me what to play on. He said, well, Mickey, I never heard it sound like that. We both laughed about it. So for that person out there, like you said, it's not a competition. It's a collaborative. Nobody can beat you at being you as long as you are in him, right? That's the thing.
And I know I mentioned this earlier, but this morning I was talking with my daughter too. She said, Mom, but people have a problem with someone who's confident. And she said it because I told her, I said, it's hard for me to explain, but I feel like when I walk into a room, I have authority.
Yeah.
I have authority over the environment that I'm in. I'm not where I'm just not feeling like I can't.
You're not a thermometer. You're a thermostat. You set that climate.
I mean, and so I admit that, a lot of people do have an issue with someone who comes in the room and like, oh, hey, y'all, whatever. However, you have to be your authentic self. You have to move in your calling. And in that, you have authority. Mm-hmm. You can walk into a room and know who you are.
That's it. I got a song I wrote called "Let Us Be the Sound to Change the World." Mm-hmm, and that song actually derives from now look, my theologians out there, I may misquote the scripture in verse number, but I ain't misquoting the essence of it. I think it's Genesis 6:26, maybe. No, Genesis 1:26. That's what it is. Anyway, what it says is, let them have dominion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I would say that let them, those two words are the most powerful words in scripture. It's literally, he tells us from the get-go. He didn't wait to Revelation. Like, he came out the box, Genesis. He's like, I'm handing over the keys to this thing called life and power. I'm giving them everything that they need to be dominant and have authority in this thing called life. They're not a doormat. They are the door holder. And for folks out there, we got to recognize that we have a sound. We have a significance. It wasn't developed in and of ourselves. It was given to us. It's that fruit. It was freely given to us, but it's our responsibility to recognize it, to recapture it, and then to operate in it in a way that's pleasing, in a way that's pleasing to those that we serve, and to pleasing to that which was given to us too. So I just encourage folks to understand that, with all the negativity, with all the news, with all the I call it the no's. I don't call it the news because it's so negative. With all the no's that's out there, that you are the yes. You are that game changer for whatever stage you're on. And my stage looks different, Dr. Marcy. Sometimes my stage is a actual stage where we're performing. Sometimes my stage is a classroom. Sometimes my stage is a boardroom. Sometimes my stage is a living room. But every stage I'm on is a life room, right?
Yes.
Every room I'm going in, my mission is to bring life. And it doesn't always mean that I'm talking. Like folks like, man, Mickey, he got a lot to say. But the truth is, left to my own device, I'm more introverted. Like, I'm gonna be honest, if I walked in a room,
I don't know about that.
look, you can ask my mama. I'll tell you, like, left to my own device, I'm just more reserved. I'm quiet. But when you get me talking about purpose, when you get me talking about, I told somebody earlier, my passion is helping you discover or recapture yours. That's what I get excited about. So for me, if I can be honest with you, I don't teach music. I teach children.
Me
Right?
either.
Right? And the music's the vehicle. And I understand that all of them are not going to be professional musicians.
That's
But if I
right.
can use that vehicle to help them maximize who they are and discover a little something about themselves and to ignite a passion and find purpose, then I've done the job. And in doing that, we'll put a song together too, but it ain't about the song. It's about the student. It's about that child. So that's what gets me amped up and hyped up. If you see me play my saxophone, we're going to play some music. But the music I select, and it's just my thing. I'm not denigrating anybody or speaking down to anybody if they don't do this, but my thing, because remember, we all got a sound.
Yeah.
Mine is, if I'm playing music, you're not going to hear me just playing anything. Now, I'm be honest, I don't play strictly gospel, but what I do play is edifying.
Yes,
If
yes.
you hear me play something, I'm playing something that's gonna sound life and speak life into you, because I see the music as an extension of the ministry of the message. I see the music or the instrument as a tool to help build people up and hopefully not tear them down. So that's my thing. Whether I'm in a classroom or on a stage, I understand that it's important to understand that we teach at all times, but when it's necessary, we use the words. We preach at all times, but when it's necessary, we use the words. Our actions and our deeds become the greatest lesson that we can teach.
That's right. That's right. And since we're talking about that musical side of Mickey Smith Jr., I didn't want to leave this platform discussion without blessing our audience with some of your instrumental expertise.
Well, it's holiday season, so we're going to give you a little music with a twist today. And I'll say this season, when it's done right, when it's done well, is really a season of love.
Yes, it is.
It's a reminder that there was somebody who loved us all so much that they gave the best, not the second, not what was in the back, but the first and foremost, the first fruits, so to speak. Going back, love is being fruitful. Love is giving. Love is edifying others. And in this season, I have a lot of things that I'm taking on to help encourage not just educators, but everyone in general. I have a podcast that's going to be launching in mid-January. We call it See the Sound. And if you hadn't guessed it already, that sound is not just the music, right? The sound is what resides in all of us. So I think in this time more than ever, we have to see what's in us, what's been given to us, so that we can then be the sound to change the world. So we got that podcast coming up. It's going to feature dynamic individuals from an educator standpoint, but not exclusive for educators. I believe that, as a matter of fact, let me put it this way. We're all educators. We may not all be teachers, but we're all educators. Educators, somebody who adds value. So in this season, we'll show life principles and success principles and just personal development principles through the lens of the teacher, of the educator, but in the lives of everyone, if that makes sense. So we'll have that podcast. We'll also getting ready to launch as well the album. Folks have been asking, Mickey, when the music coming out, and it's here. We're gonna launch it at the same time and under the same name. It's See the Sound, and it'll feature wonderful songs on there that will bless you no matter what your background is. And of course, we're coming to a city near you, the Keep On Going tour. So we're international this year. We're going to be all across North America, here in the States and in Canada, and we're virtually all over the world. We're going to be touching lives and making a measurable impact, helping all teachers succeed over frustration and fatigue. I provide professional development in services, workshops, and clinics to just to help teachers see that sound, and most importantly, to keep on going, so that our children aren't left without the same benefits that we had.
That's right. Now, audience, for the moment I've been waiting on. Now, I really had planned for Mr. Smith to play live, but
life happens.
He's in the hospital.
Life happens.
At the doctor's office. His instrument is at the doctor's office. So we're going to do the next best thing. We're going to pull up a video of Mr. Smith playing some of our holiday favorites. And what do you call it? Mashup?
It's a little mashup. So we're going to start off with the holiday stuff, but we're going to bring you to that point of love. And I think it's so important that we understand, wherever you may be and however you may be, that in this moment you are loved, you are valued, and you are wanted. And I hope this song just blesses you and reminds you of that in this season and in seasons to come too. So I hope everybody enjoys, and stay connected with me at MickeySmithJr.com, MickeySmithJr.com. And you can find it under the same platform on YouTube and any social media as well. So enjoy.
We're gonna come back though, Mickey. After we watch this video, we're gonna come back and close this out. But audience, get ready. I'm telling you, he masterfully put this together, and so we're going to enjoy it with each other here, the mashup. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. All right, let's go. What happened? What happened to it, Mickey? Did it go? Oh goodness.
It's buffering, huh? Buffering.
Yeah, the weather is rainy here, so I think that's, here we go. We'll go.
Hope you feel the love, God. Hope you know that you're loved, valued, and wanted. And of course, on this holiday season, Merry Christmas, guys. Let's continue to be the sound to change the world with our significance and provide opportunities for resilience. Keep on going in this season, guys. Don't give up. Your sound will change the world. You do just that. You keep on going. In the meantime, continue to follow me, guys. I follow him. Keep on going. MickeySmithJr.com.
Wow. So audience, you know you are loved. Yes, loved, and more love. Now, Nikki, I want to thank you. I thank you for joining me this glorious day.
Yeah. Thank you. It's always a pleasure and a joy.
Yeah, very nice conversation. I am happy, joyous. This is our holiday finale. This is the finale of season 2 of the Connecting Point. Can you believe it?
No. Wow. Season 2 already. Yes.
But something I didn't say at the beginning. You know, when you and I had that conversation, I really think it's a little over a year ago. I don't know. But
yeah, I guess it's been about 2 years now that I think about it. COVID, yeah.
Yeah, you said to me, you need to be doing something online. You remember you said that?
Yeah.
And before you said it, a friend of mine told me the same thing. So you've been in my life giving confirmation points quite some time. And so that was like, I'm thinking that was like May or June when we talked.
Yeah.
May. And then so it was, July.
So it's been 2 years. Yeah, at least.
July of that year is when the Connecting Point started. Wow. So I listen. Thank you for listening to the Holy Spirit. Thank you for following through to tell me what you were given, because everybody won't do it. So I want to personally thank you for speaking into my life and not being afraid to do so. You know, I don't listen to everybody.
Look, I was about to say, I received that, and I'm so humbled by that, because, you know, it's not about the giving alone. It's also about the receiving of it. And for you to receive that and see it as a blessing and hear it as a blessing, that means so much to me. That speaks very loudly as to what you see this relationship as. And you are my sister in Christ, and I appreciate you. I love the fact that I get to be here to close out the season. You could have picked anybody, and I'm just again, I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to break bread, so to speak, with you in fellowship and be able to share and hopefully uplift somebody in this season as well. And I will tell you, as I tell anybody else, all you got to do is keep on going. You got
keep going. That's it. Keep on going. And out there, like I say every week, thank you for joining the Connecting Point discussion. If you would like to be a guest, just reach out to me at Dr. Marcy's Connections. You can just Google it, or you can email me at drmarcyts@gmail.com. Or you can just come on and join the Connecting Point group for creators group on Facebook. Mickey Jr. is a part of the group, and many, many more progressive creators. And it's just a community where we're uplifting each other, promoting each other, speaking life. So if you desire to be connected with people who are doing that, then look us up on Facebook, join, and remember, iron sharpens iron. We would love to have you as a part of the community. Also, Mickey, mention again how they can contact you for speaking engagements, whatever.
Indeed. Thank you. Yes, you can find me on any social media platform at Mickey Smith Jr. And of course, the website, if you're interested in bringing me in to speak as keynote for your conference, or to conduct a professional development, whether it's at school district level or where it's for music educators. I do focus on leadership, personal development, classroom management, whatever you need. I'm there to serve and to be of service. And you can find out more about all that we provide at MickeySmithJr.com. So easy to remember. It goes like this: MickeySmithJr.com. And look, and stay tuned. Podcast, See the Sound. The music is coming out, and of course, the tour kicks off January 12th. So we're excited. This coming year, 2022, is going to be an amazing one and the best one yet. I truly believe the next steps will be the best steps. And of course, the next sounds will be the best sounds too.
Of course. Now, audience, you can see this podcast on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Instagram, TV, YouTube, and now you can see it on KBCN TV on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. So look us up. This is the finale. We will be back here at the end of January. Wow, it'll be 2022. I wish you all a glorious, happy, joyous holiday season. Love on each other. Love on each other. All right, until we have this time again.